Hi, I'm Joanne Murphy. Welcome to Try Talking Sport, the podium podcast for athletes, adventurers and endurance enthusiasts. Welcome to episode 9 of Try Talking Sport. In this episode I am joined by Kayanne Horgan and Valerie Fogarty, fellow Galway Tri Club members who completed IRONMAN Sweden in August of this year. They have had a very diverse journey to Ironman, both in terms of family life and sporting background. This episode brings us through their road to Ironman for Kayanne and Val, looking at what brought them together, their training and the fun they had along the way, supported by a tribe made up of family, friends and fellow triathletes. They call themselves accidental Ironman athletes and remain extremely humble as to what they have achieved. Val completed 109 marathons prior to her marathon at IRONMAN Sweden. She signed up to her first Ironman 70.3 race in 2017 as a challenge to celebrate her 50th birthday. And despite being pulled from the water in her first race and not making the cut-off on the bike in her second, she persevered with her biggest challenge and faced her fear in relation to swimming to complete her first Ironman this year. Married to John with 4 sons, Ronan, Sean, Connor and Keelan, she juggled training and a busy household with her passion for sport to become an Ironman this year. Kayanne Horgan started dabbling in triathlon in 2006 when her husband Carl and his cousin Ross were participating in the sport. Her first race, she borrowed a bike and used a surfing wetsuit for the swim. She took part in the events, enjoying the social and sporting side of triathlon more than the actual racing itself. Kayanne and Carl welcomed Maeve into the world just over 7 years ago, and she has in recent years returned to triathlon again. Managing her training with her busy family life and solicitor practice saw her take a less is more approach to her training. She has completed 2 70.3 distance events to date and completed her first marathon last October at Run Galway Bay. This year, along with Val, she heard those magic words, "You are an Ironman," for the very first time. Kayanne and Val, welcome. Delighted you could join me today for this, the 9th episode of the show. So before we get into the thick of the interview, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourselves and your background in sport? And Val, do you want to go first?
No problem. My name is Valerie Fogarty. I am a Cork woman living in Galway. I have been a stay-at-home mother for 24 years, and I suppose I got into running as a sanity for myself. That was my thing. And then, like everything else, I just used to do all the short races and then slowly got into marathon running. And I have discovered about myself that I'm very goal orientated, and I decided, why run one marathon when you can run 100 and get a medal? So I ran 100, and then I did the 6 majors. And when I was standing on the line of marathon 101, which was in Tokyo, the 100 marathons had been done and the 6 majors box was ticked, and I decided I didn't see any more point in running multiple marathons. So I was turning 50 the following year, and I decided I'd do something that would challenge me a little bit and scare me. So I decided to sign up for half Ironman. Never having done a triathlon, wasn't even really a great swimmer. But again,
and that's an understatement really about not being a great swimmer, but we'll come back to that.
Know, yeah. Really couldn't swim at all. Mammy swim, I'll explain that in a minute. But so I decided then that I was making a list of things I'd like to do in my 50th year, and this to me was going to be the biggest thing. I know I could run, I could bike, and I would just have to learn how to swim. But later on, when I made a few triathlon friends, I was kind of made aware of the madness of it, going to kind of such a huge distance triathlon for my first. But that was my first introduction then into triathlon. That was in 2017.
2017.
Yeah.
And then, Kayanne, if we move across to you, you dabbled in triathlon a few years earlier than that. But tell us a little bit about yourself first before we start talking about your background in the sport.
My name's Kayanne Horgan, Prendergast. I'm married to Carl Prendergast. I've got a daughter, Maeve, who's 7.5, very important half. I'm a Kerry woman living in Galway. I don't know, is there any Galway people actually from Galway living in Galway? Everyone
Well, we
seems to be a
have
bit older.
three Munster people in the room
Yeah.
here,
That's
2
it.
Corkonians and a Kerry.
So you'd be supporting Kerry on Sunday.
Yeah, we're all supporting.
Yeah, we are. 100%.
So how did I get into triathlon? Really, I was surrounded with my husband Carl and his cousin Ross O'Daly, who you've met. And it was kind of a charity thing, I think, back in 2006 in Ballymore, Eustace. We did it for charity. We were asked would we do a sprint triathlon. I didn't know what it involved. I couldn't run. I had to hide Nelly. I put on my surfing wetsuit and went into the lake. I nearly dislocated my shoulders trying to swim in the surfing wetsuit because, you know, it's not really built for swimming. But yeah, we did it. I survived. And it just seemed to roll on from there. But they just seemed to be kind of like charity things. I never actually wanted to do a triathlon, but I seemed to be pulled into it all the time, if you know what I mean. But Carl got into it quite seriously, and he did 70.3, he did full Ironman, and I would go to the social occasions. That really was the height of my involvement until about 2017 probably, when I did 70.3. And I did an Olympic the year before with a different brand. So slowly I got into it. But the hardest bit definitely was going from 0 to 5k running. You know, definitely. When I look back on it, yeah, just trying to get up to that level where you can actually run. You know,
Okay.
I could walk and run, walk and run, but I couldn't actually run the full 5k.
Okay.
So just getting fit was really difficult and painful and suffering, which I didn't enjoy at all.
Yeah.
So I never really wanted to suffer, you know, I never really wanted to do athletics. But bit by bit, I suppose I got fitter and I was surrounded by it. I couldn't avoid it.
Yeah.
It was everywhere. So I don't really
So-
have a career in it, to be honest.
So how does a non-runner, okay biker, okay swimmer become great friends with a serial marathon runner, okay biker, completely useless swimmer, and you both crossed the finish line at the IRONMAN Sweden in Kalmar this year?
I know.
Where did this beautiful relationship come from?
Oh, wow.
There's probably a few different incidents that happened.
Yeah,
I'd say.
I believe things in life line up perfectly. And Ironman was never a goal for me.
Absolutely
a life goal,
not.
Never a goal.
No.
One triathlon was a goal for me.
The 70.3.
Exactly. And then I suppose because I signed up for that one triathlon, I joined Galway Tri because I needed a license. And then because of that, then I went to the classes, a couple of swim classes.
Yeah.
And I went, because I had done a 70.3, I thought, no, I should be in level 3 by the reading of the thing. And I went into that class and I nearly killed me. I used to be crying going into the car, crying coming out. So then I said, I think I better drop down a level. And then I joined a level 2 class in ocean fitness, and that's where I met Kayanne, who was definitely, you know...
So you're definitely a talker.
Yeah.
So I'd look for any excuse to stop the session
Like
and
we
chat.
are.
Yeah, and Valerie would
And I'd be looking
chatting.
for a buddy at the end where we could take a breather.
Yeah.
And we'd be like, go on. Everybody was passing. We'd
we'd fight to be at the back.
We were fighting each other to be...
And Patrick was saying, well, somebody go.
Yeah.
Please, somebody go.
So that was... And then that's how we probably met. And then from there, we went to Doolin with Galway Triathlon Club for a cycle. And
You had a nasty crash that
I
year,
did.
Val, didn't
Yeah,
you? Coming
that
off
was-
a hill.
Yeah, I used to joke to Ken saying that in the running world and, you know, Marathon Club Ireland and, you know, Crockley Sea, that they'd have known me as, you know, the girl who ran Fit for Life or the girl who'd run 100 marathons. But in Galway Tri, I was the girl who I had DNF'd in a second with hypothermia down in Lost Sheep. The September before, I said I'd give 70.3 another go, and that I DNF'd with hypothermia, and then I fell off the bike. So I said to Ken, this is how I'm known in Galway Tri, as the girl who DNF'd off a swim and crashed off a bike on a descent. So that was my
It
introduction.
was quite scary seeing her come off the bike. I was
Yeah,
right behind
she
her.
was behind me.
And she didn't move for her. It seemed like an eternity. It was only 1 or 2 seconds. But it just was frightening. You know.
And that was enough to put a fear as well on me, which I...
Sure, neither of us can
Yeah.
descend now. We're
Yeah.
great at going up the mountains now, but we can't
That's
descend
it, yeah,
anymore.
we're very poor descenders now. I think that's that's the nerve is gone, and that's not a bad thing. That isn't a bad thing.
Plus, I would say we both realised that we had gone through, say, a bereavement that happened that really affected us in life.
Yeah,
my mum passed away very suddenly. Your
and
brother
my brother passed away. Yeah,
and I think because of that, we both have the attitude that you kind of just live in the moment and the day, and you make the most of whatever life gives you. If we're lucky enough to be able to turn up and start a race, to turn up and start an Ironman, I mean, that's just mad. And why wouldn't we try it? And we started chatting it through then. I
definitely think what kind of drew us to each other was the fact that we were both prepared to play everything all out. I understood that life was short, and just why not? Give it a go.
Yeah.
And that's.
But with a bit of kindness thrown in, not, from a competitive point of view.
No.
We both thought it would be a mad thing to do. And we both had that mindset that we would give it our all if we were going to do it, and you'd respect the distance, absolutely.
We were going to train properly. Yeah. We weren't going
to wing it. As much as we could.
Yeah.
So you've very different lives as well, because obviously Maeve is 7.5. You also have your own business as well, so you're travelling quite a bit. You're a solicitor and busy in court and things like that. And then Val, you're a homemaker with 4 kids. You've had a leaving cert in your house probably every year for the past 4 years. Your youngest is 18.
Just finished leaving cert now.
So they're busy households, very, very different. So how do you marry your schedules to get your training to work for both of you? You're both very supportive husbands.
Very much.
Carl and John, they're not afraid of a bit of training themselves, and they enjoy it as well, of course. How do you juggle the lifestyle and the life to come together to do your bit of training? And I
definitely think that was more challenging for you, trying to juggle the work and squash it all into the weekends.
And you're also moving house, Val, as well, so you're moving from the country.
But I suppose my big thing is my husband lived abroad for 5 years and has only moved back this year, so that helped in the sense that I had backup at home. He's only back since Christmas this year, so again, it's about things lining up perfectly. Like if I couldn't have done it in the previous year.
Well, we talked about what we going on in our lives.
Yeah.
To see, was it even possible? So I have an elderly father who's down in Kerry. My sister's abroad. I thought, would it be possible to still be, kind of take care of my dad and take on this without letting Valerie down? If I have to go down and mind him, or he ends up in hospital. And we said, look, if life gets in the way, it gets in the way.
Yeah.
Let's just keep going until something stops us. And if something doesn't stop us, and we turn up at the start line, then we'll worry about what the day ahead of us. But you thought the same. You had a lot going on in your life. And you thought it might get in the way. I don't know if we'd be able to stick to a plan, but let's take it week by week.
But that said too, what was really fantastic, because lives were hectic, we had this space every weekend, because that was generally when we were doing all the long stuff. And I mean, the day after, a couple of days after the Ironman, when Kayanne left the day before me, I said, oh my God, Kayanne, I'm really going to miss you now. Do it was the regularity, the time, that we'd meet every week. And
checking in with each other.
Yeah, and we knew we were doing this on a specific day, and it was the plan, the programme, and then all of a sudden it's like you're set adrift and cast adrift, and we have to find a new plan.
We had such great days out. We had a lot of hard days out.
Tough days, yeah.
But did you enjoy it?
I loved every bit of the training.
We had such fun, really, most of the time, didn't we?
We had.
And even when we weren't having fun, in a way we were having fun.
We were laughing about it. I mean,
we had days there.
We always go back to
that. A storm came in and we thought we'd get home ahead of it, and we didn't.
We were cowering under a bush, with the 2 bikes up against a wall, and... okay, now's the time for the people in the white coats to come and take us away. Yeah. This was a tough day.
My mother often asks if we have a switch that we can just turn it off. This adrenaline switch that we get when we go racing and training and do crazy things. But I don't think we do have a switch that we can turn off.
No.
And did the men in white coats ever turn up?
No, because they
couldn't find us. We were hiding behind a ditch. We were hiding in Rossmock.
No, but we're so in the moment. Do you know what I mean? That day, we still go back to that day, and I can still picture the torrential rain coming down, and even then we made it to the shop, and we were just dripping.
Soaked. We rang Carl to come and get us.
Yeah, we had to be rescued that day.
I would always be the one who would say, let's ring Carl, or let's, if it's getting too tough. And Valerie, you're tough. You'd say, let's just tough it out.
Not
we
that
had to
day.
call it today.
We had to call it a day
We
that
couldn't
day.
see the road with the rain. The wind was, we couldn't hold the bicycle.
Yeah.
That day was crazy with the
Or
storm.
another day that there was two really significant days for me in the training that I knew that we were going to do this. Was one day we did a 3.5 kilometre swim in Galway Bay, and it was so tough.
Oh, yeah.
It was so tough. And that was one day. And then there was another day we cycled to Athlone and back. And we had such a lovely
was a great day,
We had
yeah.
a fantastic day. And that was about 160k, maybe 150k cycle that day. And I thought, oh yeah, we've got this. And they were probably the two most significant training days on top of all the other tough days. But they were, for me, the deal breakers, I think.
Yeah. We just kept turning up.
Yeah.
I think that's the key.
The consistency.
Consistency from early on. If you can set out some sort of plan, but not a plan so that it's so onerous that you feel like it's pressure on you. Because life gives you enough pressures. You have it from everywhere, between work, parents, children.
Yeah.
You don't need another pressure in your life.
It's got to be fun.
It down,
it's got to be fun.
Yeah, and just take every week as it comes. If you can do that week, great. The next week, then what are we doing?
But I say to people now, if you're looking at the plan, just look at the week you're doing. Don't look 5 weeks, 10 weeks ahead, because that used to scare me so much, thinking, I'll never manage that. And then I was thinking, I only had to do today.
Yeah.
That was all I had to do, was the one day.
Valerie was better for the plan. She had the book.
I love the
I had
plan.
no book. I didn't
told
know
you,
I was
I'm
coming
very
up,
good.
so I was fine.
I was very goal orientated, and I worked better with plans, and I knew that was how I was gonna work best. I couldn't leave it to the wind. I had to.
But Carol did have a general plan for us as well.
Okay.
But
do as little as possible plan.
kind of, not to put pressure on yourself to try and get in like 10 sessions a week. There was never a possibility of me doing 10 sessions a week. It just wasn't a reality. I'm too much on with work.
Yeah.
I can't say to my clients, sorry, I'm tired today because I was off swimming at 6 this morning and I can't function. You just can't do that. So you have to prioritise things. So I'd squeeze it all into the weekend.
Do you think training for the Ironman and doing triathlon made you stronger as a person? Mentally and emotionally made you stronger?
If you do this, you're changed.
You were strong anyway. Definitely.
Yeah, but... Yeah,
does it change your focus? Does it change your outlook on life, I suppose, really in a way that's far beyond triathlon? Does it change you? Has it changed you?
Well, we used to joke about it being bragging rights for life. I definitely... I always felt, say, with marathon running, that I there was nothing I couldn't do. I would... And I also think I don't have huge fear of things, that I would just give it a go.
Except descending on hills.
Yeah. And also, like, I'd never DNF'd in a marathon,
I'd say. Yeah.
until I came to triathlon. I've DNF'd twice in triathlon, and somebody said to me, "Don't be telling people that," but that's actually my story in triathlon as well. It hasn't been an easy ride. I've hypothermia once. I was pulled off the bike in Dunleary because I didn't make the cut in Dunleary, but I survived that. And that day out in Connemara, when we were hiding under the bush and trying to battle that wind, well, I said, sure, I've had 2 DNFs, it's not, I've survived, but it wasn't going to be for Ironman. All of that made us.
But for all that, I knew that you wouldn't ever not try, to finish the day.
Yeah.
For people who have DNF'd, you think, God, I could never tackle something bigger. It's not a natural progression of thought that you'd take on something bigger.
Yeah.
But for you, I knew you'd definitely finish it.
Yeah, I would have to be.
There was no doubt in my mind. Or for the training or anything.
Yeah.
That we'd stick at it.
Val, I just want to come back because swimming is one of the biggest barriers for people to get into triathlon, really, at whatever age.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing. We
And
live on an
especially
island, but people still can't swim.
Yeah.
So for you were fished out of the water, you were, you got the hypothermia. How did you get yourself from being a non-swimmer to being able to complete the 3.8 kilometres required for an Ironman swim?
Every year I used to say to my husband, I could do the mammy swim, which was basically, no goggles, head above the water, breaststroke. And I used to say to my husband, I'm going to learn to swim properly. And then about 3 years ago, John said to me, are you ever going to learn to swim? So he was kind of basically putting it up to me. So I then got one-on-one lessons. not with the intention of doing triathlon, just because I thought it was a good life skill to have. And so I got 5 one-on-one lessons, and then I said, look, I get 5 more. And the thing I did then was I said, well, I'm not going to waste these lessons now. I'd have a lesson today and I'd get into the water and practice tomorrow. But it was slow. Like, I was literally kicking off the wall, and I would get, 10 feet up the pool and I'd have to stand up. That was how slow the whole process was for me. So, but I stuck with it. And then the year then I signed up for Ironman, half Ironman in Jönköping in Sweden. I gave myself 6 months to get to 2 kilometres. And oh my God, getting to that 2 kilometres was way tougher than getting to the 3.8 for Ironman.
Yeah.
That was so hard. Up and down the pool. And then I had, all that was fine in the pool then, but then I had to transfer all of that into open water. And that was another huge challenge. And there was lots of fears, and to get over, just the waves, the current. The jellyfish. There was,
all the things that could eat you.
We went in, the first time I went in was out to 100 metres and back, and that was me done, right? No way, that was it. And it took another couple of weeks before I could go back in again. And it was challenging, but this is mad for me to say this now, but my favourite part of the whole Ironman was the swim.
Well, it is the shortest.
I know that, but aside from that, it took most of my mental energy. That was the one thing that I was always concerned about, that it took most of my mental energy, to go long and to could I do it? And I did lots of things in the build up to it. I did distance week with Ebb and Flow in Galway, where we did 7 swims in a week, morning and evening. They were another group that were very supportive.
Yeah.
Carl would come on the surfboard one time with us, and myself and Kayanne, and when Kayanne is very confident and strong in the water, so I was always, if Kayanne's there, I'm fine, and Carl was on the surfboard. So I had lots of really good support.
There was one day when Carl came out on the board with us, and we went to Grattan from Blackrock.
Yeah.
So just to explain to the listeners, Grattan to Blackrock is 1.9 kilometres along the promenade from the beautiful Blackrock diving towers down towards the city of Galway. It's 1.9k.
Parallel
to the promenade, yeah.
And I'm not sure what we looked like to the seagulls in the sky, but 2 seagulls, baby seagulls, came down,
started to swoop
and started
down,
circling us and looking at us.
Yeah.
I didn't know if they were going to take a nibble, and I don't know if they thought we were seals or something.
Yourself and Carl started laughing, and I was screaming. Like, she said, Val, it's not as if they're going to come down and scoop you up out of the water. Like, I was screaming for the seagulls.
They were so close looking at us.
But actually, that was really funny. That was the day of the swim, the Galway Bay swim from Clare to Galway to Blackrock. And just as we were coming back, the first swimmers were starting to get in, and Kayanne said, I think we better not get out here at Blackrock just in case they think that we've
done the whole bay.
We've swam across the bay. So
that would have been a nice accolade as well. Val, maybe you'll do that next year.
Yay! Oh yeah.
Yeah, the bay, 13 kilometres from Aughnishin County.
Yeah. Oh, it has been floated, but no, we'll maybe
excuse the pun. Yeah.
No.
So Kayanne, in terms of your training then, because you mentioned at the start that you didn't like running 5k, and then you progressed. You were dipping your toes in triathlon. You had Maeve over the course of the last few years during that triathlon journey, but you only ran your first marathon at Run Galway Bay in October last year. And I remember calling you across the finish line. It was a very emotional thing, and you swore you'd never do one again, but the woman beside you led you down to Clonakilty for Christmas, and you did another one for the crack.
Yeah, we had
for
great
the
fun.
Crack.
Yeah, we had great fun.
I didn't even really sign up for that marathon. I just put my name on a wait list. Do you remember?
I do remember.
And I nearly died when I got an email saying, if you want the place, it's there. So I thought, well, now it's
That's
put up
karma.
to you. Do it or not.
And had an awesome race. You, for a first marathon, you ran it so well.
I think the pacers were amazing.
Yeah.
I like having a good chat on the way. So anyone who'll talk to me, I'll talk to them. And was it Paul and Michelle?
Yeah, Marathon Club Ireland.
They chatted to me the whole way around. Now by the 4th loop, I couldn't talk at all. I mean, it's pure torture. And by the 5k, I could barely will my body forward. You know, it's physically difficult, I think, the last bit of any race. You know, so whatever stage you're at, the last bit of a 5k is really difficult. last bit of it, 21k is really difficult. And I don't know, it's
Last
a
bit of
mental
Ironman
thing.
is difficult.
Yeah. But then when you do the next bit and you realise, geez, I can go a bit further, and it wasn't as difficult. And then you think, sure, I'll try another bit, you know. But like, I don't wear a watch. I just throw on the runners and I run as I feel.
Yeah.
Generally.
Which is very different to lots and lots and lots of people who are obsessed with their Garmins. And as I look at you here, Val has her Garmin on. I don't have my Garmin on because I'm watching the time on the phone, but Kayanne has a beautiful, lovely, fancy watch, a fashion watch on her arm. Do you think, Kayanne, is that something that's very particular to your success in terms of getting to the finish line, that you're able to read what your body needs and you go on your perceived effort of how you're feeling as opposed to what your watch is telling you and the pace you should be doing to complete a marathon in whatever time you might have had in your head to finish it in?
I think so. I think for me personally, I don't like to put an added pressure onto myself to do something in a certain time. Like, as I said, life gives you enough pressures.
Yeah.
This should be something that's enjoyable, where you have a bit of time to yourself. There's no phones. There's nobody can find you when you're out running. You could be anywhere. And you look around and you listen, and the noises around Galway are great.
That was very much, I think that really is something that was really struck home for me, because why I would say I didn't really enjoy triathlon, really, because I thought, what's the hurry here? Because if people were getting out of the water in the swim after me, you weren't placing anywhere. And I was thinking, what's the hurry? Oh my God, nobody seems to be enjoying this. It's all rush, rush, rush. No, everyone has different goals. But we both, when I say didn't want to compete, because you have to take part and compete, we didn't want any time pressures for any of the events other than making the cuts initially. Yeah. And we went into all of this, just very positive about doing it, but about finishing it. That was our ultimate goal.
Do your best.
Really,
look around you.
Exactly.
Collect high fives.
Yeah.
Stop for a hug if you see somebody Like
we didn't want the
met
pressure.
each other. We met each other on the run for the Ironman.
What do you mean? I met you in transition.
And transition too. But on the run, we were both in the horrors at that stage.
Kayanne was brushing her hair, getting ready to go.
Having a cup of
Getting ready
tea.
to run
She was
down the red carpet.
having a cup of tea in T1.
I must have a little check into your transition times actually.
Oh,
and see what
don't,
they were like.
please.
Put it this way. She was a good 10 minutes out of the water before me, and I met her when I came into transition.
Carl said, what were you doing?
Listen, she probably had to change her clothes like you can do,
did.
and she took her time
She
and
did.
made sure that she had her dry socks on and her full change
And
of
my chamois cream.
cycling gear. And she's
Yeah.
talking about no pressure.
Yeah.
She wanted to finish it.
And I left chamois cream in the first Portaloo
For me.
For Valerie.
Might be considered. Oh no, it's not outside the system
One day.
actually.
Yeah,
One day.
no.
We won't go down there. But one of the things that you mentioned to me, when we were chatting about doing the interview, was that you're accidental Ironman. And just chatting to the two of you here, it's very clear that this was a case of, let's get this done, and let's, this is the Holy Grail, and what are they all talking about? And, I wonder, can we do it? And I think we can do it. But I'm sure there was plenty of people around who kind of said, "Japers, what are Kayanne and Val at? Val's been fished out of the water and
falling off her bike."
I think Valerie had more respect from the triathletes that you met, because of all the marathons you run.
Yeah.
But did you
That's
get
a great-
anybody?
But I suppose there was also I felt like an expectation that I was going to do this amazing thing, particularly when I got onto the run. But what people don't realise, you've a lot to do. You're going a long time before you get on to the run.
Yeah.
And it's not like a normal marathon or half marathon. You're going, I was 9.5 hours on the go before I got on to the run in the Ironman. So it's a long day.
And I did meet one or two people from the Triathlon Club who said, so, you signed up for anything this year? And I said, yeah, I've signed up for an Ironman.
No, we were whispering it to people.
But there was one I said, I'm signed up for a full, and he said, a full Ironman? I said, yeah, full Ironman. And his jaw nearly hit the ground. So, and in a way I wouldn't blame him, to be honest. It's not like I have form or anything to suddenly announce I'm going to do an Ironman, but bit by bit, I suppose, over the last few years with the lovely crew we met that did Elsinore together this year.
Half Ironman, yeah.
We had a swim gang, little community. We had a cycle community. We had a run community.
Yeah.
You know, and bit by bit, the building blocks came together. And you thought, well, if I can do this week and I'm up to that, we'll just keep going and see how we go.
And that was amazing, really, is the support from people and people that we didn't expect, you know, that...
And that we met through it.
We said it was definitely a community of people that supported us, you know.
And it's not just the triathlon community either, really, because you obviously would have had your family. You were
without
cycling
doubt.
with Seven Springs.
Yeah.
You had...
They welcomed us on a few Saturday mornings. They were so funny. One guy
turned out... killed us on the bike.
They nearly killed us, but one guy turned out to Kayanne and said to her, "Are you doing an Ironman on that bike?" You know, like... Yeah, well, there's nothing wrong with our bikes, but you know they were really serious cyclists. So
when my bike was 10 years old, entry level.
The winner of the World Championships on a Sunday rode a road bike in Nice, not a TT bike. So he was questioned about his bike choice as well. So it worked out for him in the end. Yeah, absolutely.
But you know, I have to say, like Aoife Naughton, she did pimp my ride on my bicycle. She gave me her wheels, packed around, put on handlebars. You know, they were all coming together to give us bits of equipment. Michelle made protein balls. They did everything they could to get us to the start line. And it was like, it takes a village to raise a child. It was like a village to create an Ironman.
Yeah.
But I think that's what's very special about triathlon as well, because I know you say you're not competitive, and you'd be very clear about saying we just want to cross the finish line, but there's plenty of athletes out there that are competitive. But at the end of the day, you know, everybody tries to help everybody else, or at least people are trying to help people. And I think that a lot of people genuinely were delighted to see yourselves signing up for a full distance, and very inspired to see you do it as well. And I don't think you realise, you know, the impact that you have on our community as triathletes in Galway. And even if this, you know, when people are listening to this, that like two ordinary women, okay, we'll say Valerie had form at running. You didn't. She didn't have form at swimming.
No.
You didn't have form at swimming, but you'd been in the sport a little bit long. Sorry, not the form at running maybe, but you had the form at swimming. But you'd been circumnavigating the sport of triathlon for a long time.
And you know, over the years, I've seen so many women in the triathlon club in Galway, and I don't know if it's reflective of all triathlon clubs around the country. Many women you and I know. And the things that they've achieved, it's just been amazing. And I used to see, you know, the Christmas parties, the layas being given to different people, or they'd list out their achievements. I thought, oh my God, these women are amazing. So we've been surrounded by that, and in a way, it makes it seem like it's normal.
It does.
Do all
in
these
fact, I'm
things.
going to say it's actually very normal.
Yeah.
You know, because there's, I suppose, in Galway, there's the Ironman Hall of Fame, or the GTC Hall of Fame, that you mentioned. That's those lays, and I think when you're surrounded by like-minded people, you can achieve an awful lot more, and it's that community piece.
They do raise you up with them,
absolutely.
You know, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I suppose when you contacted us to talk, I sent back, why us? You know, because, you know, I suppose I see myself as a runner who decided to do a half Ironman, and, you know, at what point do I call myself a triathlete? I have done a full Ironman. Am I a triathlete now? I even asked my husband that I did after the race, you know, but like, I don't think I'm anything special, but I do think that if I can do it, anybody can, you know. And it just, like, you have to start. And for me, the start really was getting swimming lessons. 5 lessons.
The start is the hardest.
That was the thing.
Is it making the decision to start? Is it like anything?
I spent years, Joanne. I spent years saying I'm going to learn to swim.
As well, though. You don't know anybody in triathlon. You know, it takes a while to get to know people. And you kind of show your vulnerability a bit when you're in a swim class and you can't swim, or when you're, you know, a track and you can't run, or like I've never gone to track, but
or you fall off your bike in New York when you've tried your cleats for the first time.
There you go. Okay,
and Horgan,
speaking
from personal experience, dragging you up for mentor.
Mountain, I know, but it's people like yourself and Noel that, you know, help me improve in my cycling. So it's bit by bit that you learn.
I was
the skills.
Joking to you that I'd been in a couple of clubs before I joined Galway Triathlon Club, and I was saying to Kayanne and all the girls, I feel like I've joined this amazing girls club. Seriously,
We're all
is
the
it
men.
right? We're all the men. Obviously,
I said,
they're
"You
not
have a
training with
husband."
us. They're not training with us. But like, without doubt, all the girls
They're amazing.
are absolutely
They really are.
fantastic and supportive and inspirational.
Yeah.
You know, they say we are, but I'm thinking
No, they are really.
no, they are.
You know.
And you know, we had actually we did the half Ironman in Elsinore in Denmark in June with the most amazing group of girls. And what I loved about that, we have a video of us all waiting for one last girl to come over the line, and we're all standing there, and the whole lot of us standing on the first, second, third podium and just hauled her up onto the podium, you know, just
As if we'd won the
as if
whole
we'd won the
European
whole thing,
championship.
Exactly. And that's what it was for us.
But it was great fun.
Yeah, the
was
whole
great
thing was
fun.
fun. Really
Would you do it
fun.
again?
I told everyone on every food station I met in Kalmar, I'm never running again. Not to mind doing an Ironman. But
I told my husband.
the memory is fading, I have to say.
I said I'd sign it in blood. I said, please remind me to sign. I'll sign. And then, oh my God, I would so do it all again.
Talk
But
to
we
me
had a
about
great year, didn't
talk to me
we?
about the finish line.
Brilliant
you know.
year.
The finish line, the feeling.
Oh my God.
of
We were
running down
trying
the
to
finish
coordinate
line.
coming in together.
If I could have run it all, I would have.
I know.
I would have
You look
caught
like
up
you were
with
running
you.
your video.
Yeah,
though,
yeah,
Val,
I
to be
did. I
fair.
did. I did make a big effort. I felt I wanted it to count. I know it was going to be very short, those few minutes on the red carpet. And then all of a sudden, my husband was there. He had the Irish flag. He said afterwards, I ran past him, and then he called me back, and I took the flag, and then I ran over to Paul, and I don't know, Paul didn't know what hit him because I think I had him totally engulfed in a huge bear hug, that he had the mic and he was trying to say, Valerie, you are an Ironman, and I nearly had him choked. So I don't know, he had thousands of people through his hands that day. So he said, go on, finish it out. So I just ran on with the flag, and oh my God, I didn't cry. When I went over the line, I have cried on so
tired,
many
I'd
marathons.
You're exhausted.
But I cried on so many marathons. I maybe was just so glad it was over. I could stop moving. But yeah, oh my God. Yeah, I had never felt that in
You
half
feel like a
Ironman.
celebrity or something. you
Yeah.
know. And I don't know what it's like for the people who go faster, but you know, and finish earlier. But they make such an effort for the people who come towards the back, you know, of the.
You weren't too close to the back now. You were well in the mix of the middle.
But we could
you
hear
were-
what they
Oh, but
did.
tell about what they did. They
Yeah,
did. They
for
all
the-
went down for you and went all up, didn't they? They raised
Not
their
for me
hands.
now, but that was because I said I knew Joanne, and Paul Kay got everybody to do a 1, 2, 3 Mexican wave,
Yeah.
which was lovely. But the last few people coming in, you could see the lights. They
the
turned
Heroes
off
Hour,
the,
yes, sorry, yeah,
and they
Heroes
turned
Hour.
off the lights. And as somebody came in, it's like they were trying to scare them or frighten them, because then the lights would come on and everyone went bananas. So I'd say they felt like a celebrity, like they'd
Yeah.
won the thing
Yeah.
coming in.
It is
You
a
know,
special
instead of coming
place.
last.
It is a very special place. The Ironman distance has been in Kalmar for 25 years, but I think the Ironman brand only since 2012. So this is a city that's grown up with Ironman, and we definitely felt that all
Going
the way.
through the neighbourhoods, they had parties
Yeah.
and they made us dance. We could barely walk, and they made
Yeah,
us
they-
dance through this a balloon arch and red carpet. Do you
and
remember?
lights through the forest. It was
Oh,
really
they were-
special. They,
yeah,
they,
people
they
in
do
Kalmar
it,
are brilliant.
They do it well. They do
Yeah.
it very well.
If you could go back to before the race and do anything differently in your training or your preparation, was there anything you'd do differently?
I would say you would probably say we'd do more
Probably
running.
run more, but
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really have the time to do it.
Yeah, I for me, I think I would like to have been better on the bike. You know, it's so funny now because I have in my head I'm saying I'm going to really focus on the bike this winter coming. But maybe I should have done that last winter. But yeah, I'd like
But
to.
you did. We did lots of training.
Yeah,
you know, through
yeah,
the winter, through
yeah.
the hard months.
We did, even though, but I think I would like to improve my cycling personally a bit more. I'm such an awesome swimmer now.
Gold medalist. Heading to Tokyo.
Sign me up.
In terms of your training volume, I suppose really I should have asked that question maybe first. What was your level of training like during the week? You know, what were did you do many sessions? I know, Kayanne, you'd say you did one long swim, one long bike, one long run.
Oh
And
no!
I probably did 2 swims.
Yeah, you did this. You did
Consistently.
skills as well. Yeah.
Yeah, one long cycle, one long run. And maybe a little bit of core stuff at home, stretching.
Yeah.
Cara would give me exercises, but they'd be no more than like 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. Like, I really should have gotten up early and gone out for early morning runs, or maybe early morning swims, but I found that if I did that, I wasn't able to work, productively through the day. So I didn't do it. So that's probably the height of what I did. Maybe a second run towards the end I was able to squeeze in.
And were you doing any spinning classes or turbo sessions? Or?
Only if the weather was bad.
Yeah.
We would spin, or we do watt bike and run. If the weather, we try to stay out, really.
Yeah, spinning was horrendous.
Yeah. We
It
tried
was
to stay
too
out.
hot. It was miserable. So we tried to go out anytime
Every
we could.
time, yeah.
Unless the weather was dangerously bad.
See, I would have been different then, Joanne, because I would have had probably more time, definitely more time than Kayanne. And I felt initially I was going great, but after the half Ironman in June, I was finding it hard to recover, and I definitely needed to pull back then, because what was happening whenever we'd meet at weekend, Kayanne would be flying on the bikes and the runs, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. So I definitely, pulled back a day's training, just got a bit smarter, with recovery, took all that very seriously.
I took my recovery very seriously from Monday to Thursday.
Yeah.
So did you not train Monday to Thursday pretty much?
Not really. Because I'd be travelling with work. So Thursday evening I would start with the swim drills. Friday, might do a run. But then Saturday, long cycle. Sunday, long run. Sunday night, swim again. And then
that was a tough day. If you so for you, you'd have the bike or the run on a Sunday morning. It was generally a run on Sunday morning, and then you'd go back in for swimming on Sunday evening. So that was tough.
And how long were you training? Like, when did your training plan kind of kick in to that level that you were, was it 6 months out, 9 months out? Like,
probably
from January.
November, I'd say.
Yeah, November. We
We
started November, but in earnest, we probably kicked into a plan in January.
Yeah. Is that when you bought the book?
I bought the book 12 months ago. We looked at it for 12 months.
Valerie sent me pictures of what we were supposed to be doing. Just tell me where to be on a Saturday morning.
Well, I thought that's not going to work. I'll just tell her what we're doing today.
And then on race day, for Sweden, like, what was the plan? Get the swim done. I mean, had you a time in mind? Did you wear a watch on race day, Kayanne? Didn't wear a watch on race day?
Did I? I did wear a watch for the time, but I didn't.
You weren't watching your heart rate or anything like that? No. Okay.
Yeah, 4 a.m. out of the bed, and because we were in with 2 friends of ours as well who live in Kalmar, and they had done Ironman Kalmar before, Bob and Johnny Hillard, Clonakilty Waterfront Marathon, and we basically, they minded us because they knew the drill with, we'd be here at a specific time and there, so we all kind of went down to the water together, and then we got separated. Remember when we were getting into the water?
I thought she went in a slower group. After agreeing to go 120, there was no sign of her. But you stayed in the 120.
I did. We just got separated in the thing, and I went into the water then with Johnny, not being able to find Kayanne, and I actually just said to myself, after all these couple of years of learning to swim, that if I didn't get in here and get calm really quickly, it wasn't going to happen. And oh gosh,
but you were well ready for it.
From the minute I went in, oh my gosh, it was just
sea was lovely. It was
perfect.
like a swimming pool.
Did you have a sense of relief, Val, that you were finally starting the race and there was nothing more you could do at that point? You just had to get in and swim.
Joanne, always in training for Ironman, I had this feeling that you never have it enough done. That was more a feeling I had, that there was always another long bike, there was always another long run. I definitely had that. There had to be some stop at some point with the training. So when I got to that point, I was just so glad to be there at the start line.
Injury free as well.
Injury free.
Yeah, happy to be
and
there.
just to get to that I'm actually now getting into the water, and this is just. And even when I was in the swim, I didn't think about the bike. And when I was on the bike, and we had a tough, windy bike, I didn't think about what was ahead on the run. I just was trying to be where I was. So, and I got out of the water actually saying, I had an amazing swim. So
That's
That
the
was
first
it.
thing you said when I met you. Do you remember?
I did.
This is after you've been in transition for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, she delayed me. That's my excuse.
Yeah, and then someone shouted at us that we had 1/3 of it done. You're on 1/3 of the way to Ironman. And I thought, oh yeah, forgetting the fact that it was the shortest part of it.
And the easiest part.
But it was...
But the most nerve-wracking for most people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And what I have found as well, particularly people who come from a running background, that it is the most nerve-wracking to go back and learn to swim. And, you know, like Bob, my buddy Bob, he just swims it on his back.
And Carl's cousin's the same. You know, he's a good swimmer in the pool, Ross.
Yeah. But fear of open water. So.
Yeah, he doesn't like the open water, yet he keeps signing up for Ironman every year. And I think that's just amazing. Yeah. You know, it's easy for me because I've done surfing for years with Carl.
So does Bob.
I can go into any conditions, but for people who are scared of the water, to go in and do 3.8 kilometres, I think is amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
phenomenal.
You could die.
Well, that would have been
like you're not going to really die on a bike or run, really. You know, whereas you could drown.
I don't know if Val might have something else to say about that after her crash and dingle, or doing even.
And I had a little tumble in Ironman as well. So
will you go along again, girls?
Oh gosh,
maybe it's a big drain on family time. Yeah, that's the one thing I would say. You know?
Is it Carl's turn to go along this time?
Yeah, he signed up for one. I think the girls were trying to convince me to do one next year, and he signed up before I could. So
decision made.
Yeah,
but I'm having a joke every time we're floating stuff over and back between us, because I was saying to all, you know, the girls who are supporting us, I was saying, that's it, I'm never doing another triathlon again. And now we're like, oh, what about this? What about this? If you do it, I'll do it. If you do it, I'll do it. So it's just something that just once you do it, it's.
But I think for anybody looking to, I don't know, deal with whatever is going on in their life, it's a great sense of community, and that energy that you get from actually doing exercise, those natural endorphins that you get. Like we had a great year. We felt great. You felt, I won't quite say loved now, that might be a bit too touchy-feely, but like we definitely felt supported and buoyed up, and that can get you through an awful lot. So, you know, maybe doing an Ironman, not to compete, but just to help you deal with whatever is going on in your life, might be a good thing to think about.
And it's a huge goal to have out there. You know, for us when we were talking, it was like, that was a year away. You know, that we don't have to worry about it for a year. But in your mind, you're slowly tipping away. You're in the pool, you know, you're just getting on your bike in the winter. Oh, this is great. Look, we can do 50k, you know. And it builds up, and all of a sudden, 100-kilometre bike ride is a short ride.
But all we did really was cycle to coffee shops.
Like, yes, absolutely.
Food was very important for me.
Yeah, food was very important.
I had to eat constantly.
Yeah.
So
that's one thing I have discovered about triathletes. They like to eat a lot. A lot.
She now loves sausage rolls on her bicycle rides. I bring them every morning.
Never ate sausage rolls in my life till I started doing triathlon. Brilliant. I would totally recommend anybody.
So that was an answer of yes, you would go along again in a long-winded way.
Okay, Joanne.
If family time and commitments would allow it, I think so. And if you were doing it, I think I would do it, you know, with you.
Yeah, because we'd be, we will do it again. I know we will do it again. I know we will. Yeah.
Just nothing worse. Don't come up with any other crazy bad ideas. I'm too tired.
I don't know.
Even do it.
Previously, people would have said getting people to sign up for a marathon was mad enough, but a full Ironman, there's no.
It was a great day, though.
Yeah, I to be honest, of all, it was my favourite day. Even a hard day, but it's my favourite triathlon ever. Yeah. I can't even explain it. Somebody had said to me before, the actual day of Ironman is brilliant. The actual day of Ironman is brilliant.
Well, it's like the victory lap. I mean, that's what we say to people in the race briefings. You know, the race day of Ironman is like the victory lap for all the training that you've done. It's 140.6 miles of racing. You've actually put in all the hard yards and the hard miles and the issues before it. And this is about celebration. It's about celebrating everything that you've done, sacrificed, achieved to this point, culminates in that one, albeit long day for most people, of racing to get to that magic.
Did you enjoy it when you did it?
It's so long ago now. Since I did sign up for a long distance race. I think it was 2013 was my last long race. My last triathlon was May 2017. There, I'm at 70.3 Mallorca.
Oh, yeah,
So,
that was hot
but
that
I
day.
do have an entry for a race that's very, very quickly approaching. Dublin City Marathon.
Whoa, we'll be there.
I have
Yeah.
an entry for
Be
that,
there.
and unfortunately, I'm not as committed as I should be to it. But I have the entry, and I'm back doing a little bit, as much for my head as for my body.
Absolutely.
You know.
Absolutely.
So, but this isn't about me. This is about you, ladies. So I just want to turn it back, and I have a few more questions to ask before we finish up. And one of those, I suppose, really is, you know, who's been the greatest influence in your life to date in terms of either sport or triathlon, or is it each other? Is it somebody outside of triathlon? Who's been the biggest influence?
I'd say for me there's two people. Definitely Carl Prendergast, my husband. Because he's been so supportive in such a subtle way, you know, no pressure or anything. Just wants you to be the best you can if you want it for yourself, you know. And second person is this lady sitting next to me here.
Thank
honestly.
you. Gosh.
Like,
wow.
she's just so positive all the time. You keep at it even when it's tough. You know, you're just such an
Yeah.
inspiration to even be around. And now I'm going to get the tears now. I better stop. But really, honestly, I can't look at you. So.
You're like Batman and Robin, the two of
I
you.
know, yeah. It was amazing, Joanne.
Like Laurel and Hardy. I'd say.
You know, when I say things line up perfectly, you know, I couldn't have chosen anybody better, really, because
Or
I was in a
least likely, probably.
No, nobody better, because I'm at a kind of a stage in my life after running for so long that I just didn't want pressure. I just want to do things for fun now going forward, and I had such fun with you. And that was the thing, when she left Kalmar, I thought, oh my God, I'm going to miss her. And it was just the regularity of, you know, meeting up and chatting and not chatting. We would not be able to talk sometimes. But yeah, so without doubt, I felt it lined up for me so perfectly, you know.
In terms of people who are listening to the show who might be thinking an Ironman is way out there, or a triathlon, even a sprint or a try sprint, or even a marathon is way out there and they could never achieve it.
Oh gosh, no.
What would you say to them?
I,
What would you say to somebody as the first piece of advice you'd say to somebody who wants to do something of what you've completed?
Well, you've
either of
brought
you?
so many people through Fit for Life.
yeah,
You know,
you see, that was it. That's it.
really
Is
have.
Is it joining a club?
Yeah, that can help, because you have a huge tribe, is
Yeah.
the common word
Yeah.
using, a huge tribe. But it's starting. Like for me, it's not look at, even if you just want to run. For me, when I had training people in Fit for Life, the goal was 5k. Don't think of 5k. Just think about doing your minute on, doing your minute off. I wasn't a swimmer. Sign up for the lessons. Do one-on-one with one person who you really like, and get into the water.
break it down, probably.
The end goal is too huge for a marathon. It is
Yeah.
way too huge for an Ironman. It was way too huge for us to look
Yeah.
at the end of, you know, of the training.
It's like
of
a
the
big
full-
elephant.
Huge.
Take
And you
little
don't know
bits out of
how,
them.
you know, you train and you do it mainly separately. You know, you do the bike one day, you do the cycle one day, then you start doing bricks. But it's not the same as putting the whole lot together on a day.
Oh my
and you just don't know how your tummy is going to be.
That's it.
You know, how your body is going to react, how your head's going to react.
We
But
kept
that's
saying,
the exciting thing,
we
you know.
kept saying,
how's it going to be on the day?
how are we going to put all these together?
Yeah.
And yet you do. You do, you actually do. And you're just elated getting off the bike. You know, maybe not so elated in the run because you're tired, but just start.
Did you ever think you couldn't do it?
On the day.
In general, in the lead up to it, did you ever think you'd fail? Did those doubts come in?
I had probably one meltdown when we had that big cycle in the Burn. Do you remember that went that day with Seven Springs? And it was the week after the half Ironman in Elsinore, and my husband was on that cycle as well, and they were all in awe of Kayanne flying up the hills, and I just had nothing in
And
the
think to
tank.
get to a coffee shop, really.
No, you are really good on hills. And I had nothing in the tank, and I was at the back of the group and crying to my husband saying, I can't do this. I don't think I can. I just don't think I'm going to be able to double up what I did last
But
weekend.
they were going fast that day. And we stayed back
They
then
were,
for a bit of it.
but
remember? And we
that
just
was
let them
probably
off.
the one day that I would have doubted, you know, I would have doubted myself. But then I kind of quickly gave myself a big hard talking to and said, cop on. And I did got myself together.
Yeah.
And I did. But that was probably the one day I would have had a low about it all. But there wasn't too many of those. That was the thing, there wasn't.
No.
And that was
There's
all
one or two
pure
days
tiredness.
when you'd be very tired.
Very
just
tired,
really
yeah.
physically tired. But did I think I wouldn't do it? I didn't really know. I was going to give it my all. And I was going to hijack every high five I could see on the way.
We were
and
never
just
on the
enjoy
day.
it.
Never on the day did I think that we weren't going to do it.
No.
I never
now,
thought
if
that.
the Order of Malta had pulled up with 5k to go, I
She
think I
says
might have
that.
gotten in. I was in a whole world of pain with 5k to go.
Yeah.
Really. But then I thought, if I never got a t-shirt, if I never got a medal, you know, all that goes through your head. I don't care. I just want it over. It's a long day. You're absolutely exhausted. You have nothing left.
Yeah.
But yet you keep going, you know.
Don't mind her. She wouldn't have got into the ambulance. You wouldn't. You wouldn't.
Say, if a horse and cart had pulled up, I would have got into it.
They wouldn't have been able to get near you because there were so many spectators in Kalmar. Well, ladies, thank you so much for joining me for the show. Absolutely incredible listening to you. If nothing else, out of all of it, you've become an Ironman, and I think you've absolutely bonded for life. I don't think anything will ever drive a wedge between you, and I'm looking forward to the next podcast with you ladies when you've completed some other endurance event. We're not sure what yet, but
the jury's out.
You might sign up with us.
We can work towards it together.
You'll have to wait for us on the bike though.
You have to wait for me on the run. Listen, thanks ladies so much for joining me today, and it's great to have fellow Galway Tri Club members on the show. Delighted to be able to have you here. Thanks
for
again.
asking us.
Thank you.
You're very
Real
welcome,
pleasure.
and congratulations again.
Yeah.
So for everybody listening to the show, thanks as always for giving me your time. If you enjoyed it, please take 30 seconds to give us a review on Apple Podcasts and on the Facebook page Try Talking Sport. For more information and to check out our previous episodes, log on to www.trytalkingsport.com. You can also subscribe for free across all podcast platforms. Until next time.